Altered has hit Kickstarter, and it is off to a huge start. If you don't know what Altered is, it is a TCG coming from Equinox.
Yep.
And these are the design team and some of the people behind games like Mysterium, Dixit, and one of my favorites of all time, Seasons.
Yeah, this is an interesting game that we've had our eye on for a while because it is doing a few things that we have never seen done in a TCG before. It is handling rarity systems in a completely new way, and even the distribution of cards, the way you're getting and owning cards, is completely brand new for this game.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about what the game is offering. We had a chance to demo it, or I did, last year at Gen Con, but since then, it's been kind of radio silence a little bit. They have had a Discord I've been in, but most recently, they have not only just launched their campaign, but they do have the game available to play on BGA. Ryan and I played it.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk to you a little bit about what the campaign is and what it's got going on, but some of the big draws for us as well. I think one of the biggest draws is the artwork for both of us.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, this is, like you said, it has that Seasons vibe. It does come from that same designer. But it looks phenomenal. And they did say, like, this is not AI art in any way.
No.
I feel like it's sad in this day and age you have to come out and say that. But they have a great team of artists. What I like about this, too, it's a very consistent art style across all the different factions in the game. And the card art, yeah, it is gorgeous. It just makes the game, for me, a little bit more fun to play when you're, like, oohing and eyeing over every card you draw.
Yeah, the artwork definitely, as you can see, has that very League of Legends Riot style going on.
Very
which
popular
is
style
very
right now.
popular right now, but it's been the style that I've always loved.
Yeah.
I think both of us have loved. But some of the other things that the game has going on is, like we said earlier, very different things going on with the distribution model and the rarity system. So let's talk about the rarity system a little bit. There are going to be commons, rares, and uniques. At least as of right now, those are the three classifications for rarity.
Yeah, and that doesn't, okay, sure. It sounds like that's been done before.
It has.
But what's never been done, this is something I have never seen in a trading card game before. Every single card in the set starts off as a common. You can get any card. So any pack, there's like a certain number of commons per pack. That could literally be any card in the game, which is, for me at least, unheard of. Then there is going to be a rare version of that card that is slightly better. It might have a different ability. It might have a little bit different stats. It's going to have maybe no border, just like slightly different artwork, just stuff to indicate that it is the rare version of that card. And then secondly, there's another version of that card that's a rare that is in another faction color. So when you're building a deck, you're choosing a faction, you're choosing a leader in that faction, and all of the cards you're adding to that deck belong to that faction. But now, if you get the right rare, you can actually add in cards from other factions into other faction decks and kind of experiment and make some unique decks that your opponents don't necessarily see coming because they might not realize that you have access to that particular card.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting system.
Yeah, and then finally, there are uniques. And when we say unique, we literally mean unique. So the chances of getting these, I think they're saying is 1 in 8 packs within a booster. But these uniques, again, are those cards with the same name, but even further differences. And a lot of these, as you kind of go through this system, will have slight differences to the artwork, maybe significant differences to the artwork, as well as the abilities that are on all of these. And, like I said, it's a one-of-a-kind card. A unique card for this character with this name might exist elsewhere, but it's going to have some differences. Some of the stats might be different. Some of the abilities might be different. So that's going to be a one-of-a-kind card that you have. And by have, this brings us to sort of the other thing in place, which ties into their distribution, is digital rights to these cards. So all the cards have a QR code on them, and you can use this app to sort of scan into your collection. In fact, I've already done it. My collection, I have 4 promo cards from last Gen Con in my collection currently. But you scan them in, and you have those cards. You have the digital rights. You can then sell those digital rights, even within that same app. They don't have this up and running quite yet, obviously.
Because the game's not even out yet.
But I could sell a card to Ryan through this app. He buys it. Now I still have the physical card. I can keep the physical card. I just can't use that card in sort of formal, official tournament settings.
You can't register it in any of your registered decks.
Right.
You can't use it if you're playing online because they're going to introduce an online play.
But I can play with it at home.
Yeah, you can play with it at home, but what's really interesting about the system to me is that means you only need to find one, especially those unique cards. You can still have 4 of any type of card in your deck, or maybe it's 3 or 4
3.
cards, 3 of any one card in your deck. And you think, well, how is that even possible? You can order as many copies of a card as you want, and they will ship them to you print on demand.
Yeah.
So if you get just one, so gone are the days, like in Magic, if you want to build a full play set, 4 cards, 4 mythic rares, they might be $20 a piece. You're spending $100 on that card to get a full set. In this game, you just need to find it once, and then you can buy as many copies. And by buy, I mean just pay the printing cost and the shipping cost, and they will ship those to you. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. They haven't unleashed their price scheme, but this does allow them to do something, again, another unique thing we've never seen before. Included in every pack, there's going to be a non-playable card. Now, for a lot of the game, a lot of the packs, this non-playable card is just going to be a token. We've seen that before. But it might also be what's called a foiler.
Yeah.
This is a foil version of a card. When you open this, it's basically just going to say foiler, and it's either going to be an uncommon, a rare, or a unique foiler. And the unique foiler, it's like a 2% chance of ever finding one. So you can sell those foilers to other people, or you can use them yourself on cards in your collection.
Yeah.
And now when you print on demand, you can click a little button that says, I want the foil version of this card. So you get to choose. If I have a common foiler, I can choose any card in my collection to make foil, and then every card I order from that is going to also be foil. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think those foilers are probably going to be one of the things that people are trading quite a bit, because there's going to be some people who just want to play and don't care about that. You get a foiler, you're probably going to be able to sell that for a pretty penny.
Especially if you find one of those unique foilers.
Oh, yeah, those are going to be hard to find. And then there's going to be people on the other end of the spectrum who want to get as many foilers as they can so that they can foil an entire deck.
Yeah, now I don't know.
That's going to be a lot of foilers.
If you foil a card, I don't know if you sell the card, if the foil goes with it, or if you get reimbursed. I have no idea how that's going to work. Does the foil go with it?
I don't know that they've announced that here, but during Gen Con, we had a lot of questions. Take this with a grain of salt. These were some of the answers they gave us to questions like that. What they were planning on at the time was that if I have a foil card and I sell that, the foil does not go with it. I still retain, if I ever acquire that card again, I will have it as a foil card.
That's an interesting way to do it.
Sort of like, I don't have the card in my digital collection, but it is foiled for whenever I do get it back.
Yeah, and that's harder for the uniques too, because it's like applying that unique foil to one of your uniques. And again, the secondary market for uniques is going to be kind of crazy. And luckily, they are building a market into their app so you can see what other people have for sale. So that's when it comes to these uniques. Like you might have a particular deck and you think, oh, well, if only I had this and this and this. There might be a unique out there that has that, that, and that. You just have to find who owns it, make them an offer, and try to buy the digital rights for that card. And then you can then print it off or have it sent to you.
And what's interesting is, depending on how the app works and how you have to opt into different aspects of it, all of that's going to be scanned in when people are getting their decks.
Yeah.
So to go out there and search the planet Earth for that unique might not be as hard as what it would typically be.
As long as it exists. I mean,
if it exists out there, you might see it, somewhere in someone's collection. I don't know how much access you have to the whole scheme of what's out there.
I imagine you'll be able to scroll the market. I bet there's going to be people putting their uniques up on the market. You could just scroll through and be like, wow, that's a build a combination that I have to buy. I also imagine that there's going to be quite the price tag for some of these unique cards on the marketplace.
I also think, this is just me, but if I get foilers, I feel like I'm going to be one of those people that I'm going to wait to use this before. I want to know for sure what I want to use this on. And then I might get another foiler and I'm like, I'm still not using them.
And that's why in 10 years, David has 100 foilers and not a single foil card.
And then I can sell them all.
It's like saving up the 99 health potions in an RPG and never using them.
Yeah, that is effectively kind of how I would approach these sorts of things. Now, we are going to have some more content up on the channel, I think. This is a unique situation for us. So this is not paid content in any way, shape, or form.
No, not at all.
But we had an early glimpse of it, and so I was excited about it. I was most excited about it because of the designer behind it, and I love the way it looked. So I bought in. This is the rare occasion where Ryan and I can both say the following thing, and I think we've never been able to say this before.
Have we never done? I bet something.
I don't think so, because I don't back a lot. But
that's true.
We both backed it.
Yeah, so this is, not only is this not sponsored, I don't even think we're going to get any comp copies. We're backing it of our own money.
Right.
And I went crazy all in it because I know I'm going to want all the starter decks. Also, I don't want another Lorcana situation where the game releases in July or August.
You're on the outside looking in through the
and
window.
you're like, well, it's going to be 6 months before you can get anything. Like, I know I'm going to get it. I backed it on the Kickstarter. I'm going to get every starter deck. I'm going to get a booster box, all my accessories. All of it's going to come together, and then we're going to be able to do a fun unboxing video when it comes in.
Yeah, and then you can kind of wait and see, like, oh, I really love the game, and now it's in stores. I'll go get some more.
A game like this is an investment, but we've played the gameplay on BGA, and it is different. It's different enough from the other games. And I think, I'm not going to speak for David, but I know for me, it's kind of refreshing that it's not a direct conflict kind of game.
No, it's not like hit points or anything like that.
We're not battling our monsters. We're not fighting each other. We're not doing damage to cards. Like, you're just trying to move your hero and companion closer together, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still sort of comparing values of your cards to the other player. And like I was about to say, we might even get on BGA and record a play if we're allowed to. I know there's a little tick box on BGA that says, do you accept these terms? So maybe they're not allowing that.
I think people do.
If they are, we'll get a game played so that we can show it to you. But yeah, you're trying to move one piece, your companion and your hero, together. And it's really interesting because there's two fronts that you're fighting on, and you can kind of do some of that stuff where, like, I'm going to play a card here on my turn. And each player is just playing a card on their turn. And if I play a card here, then Ryan thinks, okay, he's trying to win this. But maybe I was just feigning there.
Yeah.
So now Ryan doesn't have any mana to play any more cards, so I know I can just play one dinky little card over here and win that side. Because when you win both sides, both of your pieces go forward, but you could still win one.
Really good when you
and in fact, there are certain circumstances where both of us can win the side.
Yeah.
So I might be on a space that requires a particular
like
biome, water, and he's on a space that requires a different one. He could win the other one. I could win the water. Both of our companions move forward. It's a very interesting mechanic.
Yeah, it is interesting, and there is still cards in the deck that interact with your opponents. You can, banish your opponents, or but there's no like damage or health points or anything like that. It simply is comparing those strengths. It's all more about kind of that mind game of like, is David going to go here or here? Is he going to go heavy on this one or heavy on that one? What can I do? I don't want to go all in on this one and then have David play some surprise card that has 10 strength and now I've lost. So it's still very much a direct competitive game where you really do, probably even more so than Magic, have to try to predict what you think your opponent's going to do. I think that gameplay, we've only played with the starter decks, and I never really feel like starter decks give you a true taste of what the game can be.
Right.
So I'm very excited about building some of my own decks.
Yeah, seeing some of those boosters and seeing some of the other cards where you're like, oh my gosh, think about how this will work with this other card. That will be really fun. Again, as I've said on the channel here before, these are not my kind of games typically, but man, this is, if I don't get into this, I should write off collectible card games.
Yeah, probably. If One Piece didn't grab you, I can understand that. I love One Piece, but we're in like the heyday now. We have so many great TCGs. So it'll be interesting to me to see Altered versus Lorcana versus Star Wars Unlimited coming out this year. So
yeah, there's a lot coming out, and there's more we could say about the game, but we'll save that for another piece of content. It's got a lot of really interesting systems. If you have any questions at all about anything we did share here, or the campaign, or you just want to get down there and say, hey, why are they doing this? Or hey, Ryan, did you back at $5,000?
Oh, I would have.
He didn't. There was a $5,000 pledge.
It sold out too fast.
Yeah. He was gonna get two of them.
You know what? That's crazy that there was a $5,000 pledge, but all the stuff that's coming into that,
it was an investment pledge.
It's an investment pledge, but you
got like 42 booster boxes.
It's crazy.
That will each go for, well, the MSRP is about $150 on them.
It's like Lorcana, they could go for
they'll probably
$700.
go for a few $100s in that first few months, so someone could get that and make all their money back and then some.
We'll see.
Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, get down there. We'll talk to you about it until we can't talk about it anymore. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then. Bye.